All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Something Up My Sleeve. I feel good doing this live again. I feel like the last few episodes, there's been so much going on. They've been mainly on location, like at the Chicago Magic Lounge and at the IBM convention at 4F. I've been able to do a lot of cool interviews there, but now I feel like I'm talking to you. It feels like it's been months, and this year has just been a whirlwind. I'm sure most of you would agree. Welcome to the show. We've got some brilliance in magic as guests tonight. So I want to get right into it because I could pick this first guest's brain for a long time, but I'm going to start by showing you his rendition on Fool Us and what he did on Penn and Teller. So sit back, relax, get some popcorn, and enjoy. We're going to start right about a third of the way in just to save some time. So pay careful attention because I'm going to ask him a lot about this routine.
I decided to study all of the foolers from the past and see if there was a common denominator of things that successfully fooled Penn and Teller and things that didn't fool them. I even went back and watched all of the past episodes of Fool Us and made a list of the words and phrases that Penn had used most often every time he was describing a successful fooler. Now you can see the words come in all different shapes and sizes: good, creative, confident, comfortable, smart, strong, powerful, cool, clever, unique, exciting. I even put the word that Teller used most often. So Penn, Teller, Allison, if the three of you would please indulge me for a moment, just pick the word that you think all successful foolers should be. Penn, what do you think?
Powerful.
Powerful. Powerful. Okay. Teller, you want to just point to one? Clever? Powerful and clever? Allison?
Can I point to Teller's word?
You can point to Teller's word. Do you want to just do a Teller's word?
I'll do creative.
It's up to you. Okay. Powerful, clever, and creative. Yes? Powerful, clever, and creative. Perfect. Let me just actually erase all of these words so that nobody changes their mind or gets confused or anything like that. A little David Corsaro subliminal messaging doesn't hurt either. But see, there's actually another message that you created. There's a message hidden inside this deck of cards. Let me spell it out for you. Literally. Your word was powerful. P-O-W-E-R-F-U-L. Your word was clever. C-L-E-V-E-R. And your word was?
Creative.
Creative. C-R-E-A-T-I-V-E. Now, I should point out this is not a card trick, because this is not a regular deck of cards. This deck of cards actually contains the names of everybody who's ever fooled Penn and Teller. We've got Paul Gertner, Boris Wilde, Chris Capehart, Helen Coughlin, David Roth, Helen Coughlin again, Helen Coughlin, well, she's in here a lot, Sean Farquhar. But after doing all that and spelling those names out, we have all the people who have fooled Penn and Teller. And after we used the attributes that you selected, we ended up on this person. Not this one, who was Doc Dixon, but this one. And if all of my Pavlovian tomfoolery worked, hopefully we can add my name, David Corsaro, to the list. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Corsaro, everyone! That was so
Thank
good.
you very much. I appreciate it.
What does it mean to you to be here tonight?
I wanted to just come out here with something fun and also something that sort of pays homage to all the past foolers.
Definitely. And have you really watched every single episode?
I did. I literally transcribed every single thing Penn had said and kept a tally sheet of everything. If you ever want some of your statistics as well, I might have those as well.
I certainly don't.
just-
I think the easier the trick is, the harder it is for them to figure out, because they are so smart that they go to like, okay, so they moved the planet and they did and the history and then they're like, no, it was my watch.
Yeah. Planet moving was one of the ways I was going to consider doing this. But I would actually agree with you that if the method behind your trick is extraordinarily clever, then you almost have to come up with another way to maybe perhaps lead them down that path.
All right, David, let's see if your Pavlovian techniques earned you a trophy.
Hey, David.
Hello.
Nice trick.
Thank you.
I like Pavlovian ideas. That's very good. You've always got our attention. We do a joke about Helen Coughlin fooling us all the time. In another 2 seasons, you'll be able to do that whole trick with just her name.
Just her name, yeah.
Yeah, nobody else's name. Really, really good. We did not see you doing any card moves at all. We were burning you, absolutely burning you, and we didn't see any seconds or bottoms or anything going on there. So we had to go down another road, which is that list of words that so nicely spells out your name when erasing. We couldn't help but notice that many of those have the same number of letters. And we think maybe you got a little bit lucky, like I picked a longer word, then Teller picked a medium word, and then you were right there for Allison. And that maybe if Teller had picked a longer word too, you would have had to push Allison onto one of the shorter words. But I think it all went really smoothly. We all came out kind of in the middle. We didn't have time to work out the number of letters on everything, but we think that the trick is not in the card handling, but rather in the psychological handling of the words there. Are we, do you want more? Are we close enough? Do you think that we've got the basic idea?
David, does he know how you did your trick?
He doesn't know how I did the trick.
It's not in the words at all.
It's not in the words at all.
Don't bust me on the specifics. It's not in the number of, it's in the card handling. We start ringing the bell.
Yay!
Start ringing the bell. Start ringing the bell.
I mean,
Goodness gracious.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Not only is he a Fuller, he's a regular guest at 4F. He's combined marketing and magic so that they really have become one psychology, and hope we have time to ask him more about that. But let's bring on one of my friends, David Corsaro. Welcome. Why is this is finally happening? I've wanted to have you here for 2 years now.
It's literally been months and months we've been trying to get this Zoom to organize. So thank you so much for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
Your act was one of the very first videos I studied when I decided I wanted to try to put something together for the show. But we're going to get more on that in just a moment. I don't like to get past my first question because it's the name of the show. My first question on my guest is, what's something up your sleeve?
What's up my sleeve? I'll tell you, one of the things that I love to do, and of all the different ways that I try to give back to the magic community in the best way that I can, one way that I do it a lot is through marketing help. I've worked, in addition to being a magician, I've spent the last 27 years working for 3 of the best marketing companies that this country has to offer. And I've learned how to work with different brands on different challenges that they face. And so I've been able to learn some cool techniques and tricks and apply that to magic and sort of help grow my business. And it's something that I've tried to work with other magicians and teach them, consulting with them, just to try to help grow their business a little bit. So if there's one little tiny thing up my sleeve right now, it's I've been lucky enough to, I've always said the tips and tricks, the education I've had in marketing has helped my magic, and the stuff that I've learned in magic has helped me in marketing. So if anything, I got lucky that I can interchange those two.
I think someone who's new to magic or someone who's just maybe a hobbyist doesn't really appreciate how important what you're saying is and how important it is to learn that side of it if you want to, at any level, be a professional in the industry, how important that is. That it's like, do I have to learn card tricks? Not necessarily. Do I have to learn marketing? Well, yeah, you're done.
Yeah, I always say, you might do the best diagonal palm shift in the world, but if you don't understand the business side and you want to be a full-time pro, you're going to be missing out and you're putting yourself at a great disadvantage. So hopefully I can kind of help a little bit and steer some people on a good positive path.
Let's come back to the marketing. Let's get into this act because there was 3 things that I want to talk about when it comes to this act. Because we could spend probably an hour just breaking it down. The bell, the look, the idea. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your fooling bell is wonderful.
I love it, Michael.
I use this. This is it's funny, the whole Pavlovian thing about the dog and how they use the bell. And really the bell is, I didn't start with this. This is now the all done bell for my cat. My cat has like 20 buttons.
Okay.
Fitz is like up to 20 buttons. He's communicating with me with the buttons. And this means all done or go inside. I started using this mainly because I could cover up that little cat button, I could cover that with the bell and then hit that. So that's how.
Nice.
That's what he associates that with, and I think, but I think it's funny for anybody when they see that premise, and we're taught that early on. Everybody understands that. How did that part of it, the bell itself? I don't know if that spawned the entire idea or which came first, but the bell. I was curious about where that come from.
Well, I was lucky because I had a little bit of sort of market research internally. So I was lucky that I had my son Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
My son Matthew. Come over here, Matthew. Say hi to everybody, just real quick. And my gorgeous wife Lauren. My gorgeous wife Lauren was here as well.
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So they got to be there with me as I was sort of working through this. Did you guys have a good time? Did you enjoy Daddy on Fool Us? All right, I'll pay you later. Go ahead, get out of here. Thank you. Now, it's funny because you talk about the look, the bell, and the trick itself. Two of those go together. So the trick itself and the bell came because when I first decided I wanted to try out for the show, I thought to myself, what do the producers of the show want to see? I didn't think what trick is going to fool them. I didn't think what trick could make me look best on camera. I truthfully only thought about when the producers are looking through everybody's videotape that they've submitted, what's going to make me stand out? And I thought to myself, you know what? If I take this trick that I do, which is called Getting to Know You from my Penguin lecture, if I take that trick and I redesign it a little bit to be all about the people who have fooled Penn and Teller in the past, I said, that's going to hopefully catch their eye because they're going to look at that and say, you know what? This is like a little mini commercial for the success of this show for so many years. Maybe that's the way that I could get on. Then as I was crafting the routine, I thought to myself, I want my name, when I turn that card around and it's got my name on it, that's the center part of the whole trick. If they don't remember my name, it kind of loses a lot of its kick. So I needed a way to reintroduce my name in the middle of the presentation. Allison says it in the beginning. You're going to see the trick with my name, the card turnaround with my name on it. How do I get my name in the middle? And that's when I came up with the idea of using the words that Penn used and being able to erase them. And you could sort of see the all the different letters to reveal David Corsaro Fooler. And by seeing those letters, I worked back to the sort of Pavlovian presentation and having that bell there. So everything sort of fit together like a little puzzle, but truly with the only goal of how do I get on the show?
That's excellent. And a lot of really good points to anybody who's thinking about putting together an act for something like this or anything of this nature, because those same ideas can be applied to other shows that people. Trig was talking about some of the same ideas when he was trying to get noticed by America's Got Talent. One thing, just to give you a hint, just the psychology. I don't know if like magicians look at things differently. I watched this many times, and today was the first time I'm going to pull up that I even noticed that it says "drool us." And there's the dog drooling. I looked at the bell. I'm watching your hands. I don't know why, but it wasn't until when I was reviewing it today that I actually noticed that it says drool us, that you put that in there. And I would say great subtlety, except it's a huge sign. I don't know how I missed it.
Yep. Again, and the producers of that show, and especially Michael Close, the magic consultant, they've got so many different ideas and ways of truly making your performance look as good as possible on television. For a lot of this sort of visual stuff on that, I basically trusted their judgment, and thankfully it looked great. I thought it looked fantastic.
It all comes together with the bell for sure.
Yep.
So that talks about the bell and the idea and some of the concepts rolling forward through organizing this routine. But when I meant by the look, you know what I'm talking about because I wrote to you. When I was first trying to figure out a routine, Sean Farquhar said you needed to watch. Have you seen David Costaro's act? I hadn't. He said you need to watch it. I watched it. I said I love it. I love the way that's written. I'm just looking at the entertainment value. He goes, yeah, but you know how I did it? I was like, no. And for me, I'm usually like, I figure either I know right away or I'm not sure anyway, so I can watch it a million times. I'm looking for the entertainment value. But the way he said watch it again, I knew, okay, I missed something. And then I watched it again. I go, wow, that is incredible. And what a great lesson in misdirection for any magician. I would say this should be now part of, like, our Bible of, if you're going to watch certain videos to learn from when you're getting into this,
Wow.
that's a lesson right there.
Thank you.
Great misdirection.
That means a lot to me. Yeah, I mean, I often joke around and say there's not a single person who has a foolish trophy with less talent than me. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. And you know what? A quick story, when they said, start ringing the bell and the trophy comes down and Penn and Teller come up and they give me the trophy, I'm freaking out, obviously, and I walk off the stage. And the producers, the director, said, we want to reshoot you walking off. You walked off too fast. So I said, okay, that's fine. I'm still freaking out in my head, but I have to reshoot literally just walking off. So I go back to the center. Penn and Teller are there. We're getting ready to just shoot the walk off. And Teller looks at me and said, wait a minute. Did you? And then said the actual method. And I said, I did. And the best compliment I've arguably ever received in my life, he looked at me and he went, I was looking for that and I didn't see it. And the idea of the power of misdirection, when one of the smartest magicians alive tells you he was looking for the method, didn't see it, and that's exactly what I used to fool him. I mean, I was blown away at that moment. I'm still on cloud 9 and it's a year later.
And we can find the exact moment, which is 7:08, because I remember I wrote to you and I was like, your look at 7:08. When you realize there, because at that point I could see it's very confusing what he's getting into. You don't know if he's misleading you by bringing up all the words, and it's clearly then. But at that moment, he's clearly lost. And I'm going to pull that up right now so everybody can see that exact moment. Watch his face.
Kind of in the middle. We didn't have time to work out the number of letters on everything, but we think that the trick is not in the.
I would have put it in slow motion. Watch this again in slow motion. I mean, I don't have it in slow motion, but check it out. This reminds me of the Grinch when he realizes that all the kids have gone to bed.
In the middle, we didn't have time to work out the number of letters.
Wow, you can't even contain it. It's this evil grin across your face. Like, oh, I've got him.
So watch again. So hit play right there.
On everything.
And watch Teller's face when I say he doesn't know how I did the trick.
Psychological handling.
So just watch Teller.
Are we? Do you want more? Are we close enough? Do you think that we've got the basic idea?
Watch coming up right here.
Know how you did your trick?
He doesn't know how I did the trick.
That look is, I really think that's him saying to himself, he must have done what I thought and I didn't see it.
It's in the card handling.
I mean, it was one of the best moments of my life. There's no question about it.
Well, it's great that you had the attitude of it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
It didn't.
And whether you fooled them or not. But no, what a kick knowing that you pulled that off. And
honestly, I think that is so crucial for anybody who wants to go on the show. I really think it's you have to take the first step, and that first step is not how do I fool them. It definitely isn't. It's you have to kind of come back first, and you have to build to that. And step one is just going to be, this show's been running for 10 seasons. They've seen hundreds and hundreds of magicians. I even showed you some of the data at the last 4F that I went through. What's going to make you stand out to the producers of the show?
That was actually on my list to ask you about, because that totally caught my attention. As you know, David's lecture at the 4F convention was about the statistics behind Fool Us. And some of the data you came up with was, well, how many card tricks, how many women have been on the show, how many 4Fers have been foolers on the show, and the percentage compared to everyone. What's some of the other data that you came up with? I found that fascinating.
You know what? One of the things that I really found most interesting was the level of similarity that so many people brought. And then when you isolated the foolers, I think it's really easy to see what makes them unique and stand out. And it's not always about a funny or wild presentation. Sometimes it's more about a premise that's really unique and different, or a method that's really unique and different. But again, that's to go to that next level. That's to be the fooler, where anybody who's watching this who's like, you know what, I have a great trick. God, I'd love to do that on the show. I really want to audition with that trick. Pause for a moment and go, okay, why do the producers want to put you on national television? What about this trick makes for good TV? If you can answer that question, then I think you've already taken a huge leap above everybody else for actually being able to get on the show.
Right on. Yeah, and that's not an easy question to answer.
No, it's not.
It's not. Yeah, so definitely help you to take that apart. What were you asked? Did you come up with that idea to lecture on it, or did somebody ask you specifically?
So Christian and Catalina just asked me to sort of talk about, the Fooler routine. It was because I had gone back through every single episode of Fool Us to sort of work through that presentation. I said, you know what? Let me actually start pulling some of those numbers, because I literally had a spreadsheet all created. I'm a dork like that. It's just who I am. I'm a data guy. And so with Effectors, when they wanted me to talk about it, I said, all right, what's going to make this a little bit different? Let me start actually pulling some data and finding some really interesting trends to talk about the show in a different way. And that's what Christian and Catalina, two incredible people, asked me to do.
So let me ask you this. It's kind of off the top of your head. You saw so many different episodes. We've talked a lot about your acts, but what others stand out in your mind? Are there a couple of particular acts that you felt were solidly written or that had really great misdirection?
I mean, there are a ton. I mean, I mentioned a few of them there, but like if you go back and you watch the stuff that Sean Farquhar did on the show, if you watch the stuff that Paul Gertner did on the show, Francis Minotti, Boris Wilde, Chris Capehart, if you go back and you really study what they did, the presentations behind them, the premise of what they were talking about, just the way they interacted with Penn and Teller, the way they interacted with the camera, which I think is also really crucial. I think you can learn a lot. I mean, there's been tons of them. If you go back to Garrett Thomas, if you go back to Jason and Stacey Allen, I mean, they've all done phenomenal work on that show. Really, I think interesting viewpoints and different angles to consider.
So, in talking about 4F, one of the things I wanted to bring up, because when I first met you, actually, it was basically in the writing room when I realized that you're the guy helping Rick Merrill and Steve Bargatze with the closing show, which has gone on for years. The closing show at the 4F convention, which is essentially a comedy show and like a roast of all the people that have performed. But a lot of 4 days worth of kind of ideas and writing goes into this. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that experience and maybe how that got going and what you get out of that kind of encounter with those guys.
I mean, I think one of the awesome things about the magic community is we've got this opportunity to take the people that we really look up to and we really idolize as we're growing up in magic and have a chance to meet them. And 80% of the time, that's an awesome experience. 20%, maybe not. 80% awesome experience. And I always loved watching Steve and Rick very independently. So watching Steve Bargatze, the way he's got this gift for physical comedy, the way he knows timing like I've never seen before. He knows exactly when to say the joke. He knows when to pause. He knows when to look around the room and just hold it one more second and then drop the perfect joke. When you look at Rick Merrill, you see scripting. You see not only just ridiculously beautiful sleight of hand, but you see a knowledge of how to craft a joke, how to write a joke in a really specific way where it's subtle, where the humor is not punch over the head physical comedy, it's more subtle. So the first couple times I went up to Effectors and I got to watch the two of them, it was great. I mean, it was just the perfect marriage of the two different types of comedy. So a few years later, I did a bit up there and Rick came up to me afterwards and he went, that was really, really funny. I really like the way you write jokes. And then the three of us hung out that night, and they kind of said, you have any ideas for jokes for us? And I started writing down ideas, and they liked some of them. And then it just started this friendship where now it's basically the three of us in a locked hotel room with tons of snacks, just pounding through jokes and ideas and throwing so much spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. And then the two of them go out there and absolutely kill it. So if I've been able to be 5% of the brilliance that they put on that stage every single year, I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad I get to ask you about it and talk about it because you're kind of behind the scenes and sort of like a faceless talent in that mix. And but what a crazy setup that is, and how fun that's been throughout the years, and it's just become somewhat of a legend. We're always excited to see it.
It's been awesome. I mean, the worst part about it is occasionally Rick and I will come up with jokes that cross the line, and Steve has to pull us back. And then there's about 20 people up at Fector's who know this and will come up to me at the end and beg to hear all the jokes that Rick and I wrote that Steve wouldn't let us do because they're going to be too offensive or they're going to be, just a little too much. So there's always this tiny little wish of a potential late night private 20-person only, leave your phone at the door, nobody's allowed to be offended mini show that we may do one day.
Ah, nice. So as long as you're keeping all the notes, you'll be able to. I can, it's hard to imagine because some of it can get pretty crass. It's hard to imagine what was rejected, what was left on the cutting room floor.
Cutting room floor is really interesting. It's a lot of fun.
I hope to be sitting Indian style on the floor of that hotel room when that does take place. So let's talk about your show. You're performing October 24th is the next one in New York. It's called Magic in a Bottle. And everything about what it says just sounds amazing. It sounds like the type of show that someone would enjoy when you picture in your mind, I want to go to a magic show tonight.
Yeah.
Magic in a Bottle.
Shortly after my Fool Us appearance aired, this was in the late winter, early spring of 2022. The management of City Winery, which is this gorgeous wine bar theater in New York City, right on the Hudson Water. They have these two rooms. One seats about 1,000 people, and they get incredible acts in there, Seth Meyers and Mike Birbiglia and all different types of musicians. That's in one room. Then there's an upstairs room, which is like a loft. It's more of a comedy club. Seats about 130 or so. And they basically said, look, we have this room up here. We bring in musicians. We bring in comedians. We kind of want to do something in the magic world. What can you do? So I sort of brainstormed with a few other people, and we came up with this thing called Magic in a Bottle. So it takes place typically the last Tuesday of every month. This October is one just a little different because the last Tuesday's Halloween, so we're doing it the week before. But it's basically a comedy magic show. We have anywhere from 3 to 4 acts each time. The show runs about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. There's food, there's drinks. It's a fantastic venue. And again, knock on wood, I am super lucky to have in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area a wealth of phenomenal magicians to reach out to perform on this show. So over the course of time, I've had Harrison Greenbaum and Rachel Wax and Mark Calabrese and Eric Diddleman and Tom Kennedy and Jason Saran and Eric DeCamps. I mean, Will Fern. I mean, I've had so many, Adam Rubin, so many phenomenal magicians who've been like, yeah, let me come do the show. And what makes it even better is they have such a great time. They're often like, when can I come back? And I've got my sort of core group. It's me, Mark Zaccaria, Michael Goldman, and Sean Dillon. And the four of us sort of talk through each month and decide who's going to be the best fit. And they've helped me produce the show. We're going on, I think, about year and a half, almost 2 years now. We're getting close to or selling out pretty much every single show. It's been a dream.
Any plans to increase the amount of shows?
I don't know. It's funny because it's something that we've talking about doing a slightly different show another night of the month. Right now, my focus is just trying to make that one night a month as perfect as possible. And I've got the people around me with the talent to be able to perform on the show. I've got a venue that's super excited about it, that's making a lot of money on it. So they want us to keep going as well. And what's also important to me is we have a staff, the staff of waiters, waitresses, sound guys, management. They're all phenomenal, and they all help to make the show look as best as possible.
Excellent. So if you're in the New York area, get a ticket. They're going fast and selling out, and that's going to be October 24th. So did you say who's on that one? Is that going to be, are you performing?
So what happens, so on the October 24th show, I'll MC it. But for the most part, the focus is going to be on the other acts. We've got TJ Tana, who is incredible, does a ton of cruise ships. Same thing with Ryan Kane, really funny, does a whole bunch of cruise ships as well. We're got headlined by Mark Zakaria, who is, if you know anything about Mark, he's one of the most in-demand mentalists around. And Ben Nemzer, who, again, one of the really great things is Ben is more of a West Coast guy now, but he's going to be in New York just for a couple days. He told me that. I said, great, let's get you on the show. Boom, he's going to do a spot. So we got 4 incredible acts for October 24th. And then plus there's Close Up at Your Table with Michael Goldman and Sean Dillon.
Excellent. So before I hope you can stick around and say goodbye after we bring Oscar up. I'm gonna bring him backstage, but I would love to bring him back and really talk more on just the one topic of marketing, because there's clearly just not enough time to go over and pick your brain like I would like to, and it's something that I think we all need, especially the professionals that may be watching this. So if you were to say, being specific about to our industry, because one thing is that there's a lot of marketing ideas out there that people just don't realize how different being a magician is. So what advice could you give specifically that maybe others wouldn't think of, or you wouldn't get from other places because they just don't understand what it is that we do?
So let me touch on 2 quick things there. So number 1 is there is this false narrative out there being pushed by certain people that marketing is just really easy. That there's just, if you want to learn the secret that I'll sell you, you'll double your gigs in a month, which is just horse crap. It just doesn't make, there is no formula. Marketing is not easy. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of magicians who believe it is. They believe, oh, well, if I just do marketing, then the gigs start rolling in, right? And that's not the way it works. Every single person out there has a very unique style, market, target group, and there is not one formula that applies to everybody. It just doesn't exist. Magic is something where, in order to be able to market yourself, you have to truly understand who is your target, what is your market, who are you as a performer. And these are all things that you really have to get down on paper. You can't just say, yeah, I know my market, or yeah, I know who I'm going after. I know who my clients are. That's not the way it works. You literally have to do some homework. And I've consulted with a lot of magicians in the past. I've probably consulted with, I'll say, 40 magicians over the last 2 years on their marketing. And at the end of every single phone call or Zoom that I do, I'll say to them, here's your homework assignment. There's some data, there's some information I need you to go get before we can go to step 2. And I'm telling you, Michael, of the 40, maybe 4 have actually done that homework. Maybe. The other 36 have all dropped off because they realized how hard it is. And they just want to rely on their double undercut to get them a gig. And it's just not the way it works. So there's a lot of background homework that you need to do.
And that's the hard part, because nobody wants to do homework. And you always think it's going to end, but it really doesn't. And it's just like anything else, just like learning as a magician, just like anything you're going to try to be good at, you keep going. You don't just stop like you did that part of it. You got to keep that going, right?
And the next guy you're going to talk to is a perfect example, because I guarantee you there's nobody I've seen that works harder than Oscar Munoz. And ask him if marketing is really easy and the gigs just pour in with no work. I guarantee that he's going to say no.
He is a worker, but
he is.
By far, absolutely. All right, David, go get yourself something to drink and sit back, relax, and enjoy Oscar. I'm gonna bring David backstage. Everybody, big round of applause.
Thank you.
The legend, and go see him in New York. It's called Magic in a Bottle. I put the link in the chat there on the Facebook page, so check him out. And I hope to see you too when I'm in New York. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to see you again soon, because he's going to be more of a part of the shows that I'm doing and these podcasts that we're putting together. So thank you so much, David. And now I am going to I found a cool little segment of Oscar. Oh no, where is it? Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to find the link again. Where was that one? Oscar Munoz. Ah, here it is. Yes. I wish you could have been with me at the Magic Castle to see him in action. Really one of the best manipulators I know. One of the best ring manipulators as well. I don't think Oscar gets the credit he deserves when it comes to the sleight of hand that he has mastered. Although he has some prizes that are sought after and coveted, and that not many people can claim, including the Gold Cups, not just winning first place in the Gold Cups championship, but the actual Gold Cups were given to him, and that's an award that just happens every so often when all the judges decide that this is a phenomenal act. And in addition, he was given the gold medal by the Society of American Magicians, and that's rare as well. Huge award winner in Magic, but he's a worker. He's always out there. This is going to be a video of some of his manipulation routine that I just recently got to see at the castle. Let's see, that is. Oh, I got to stop this screen. That's why. Okay. Whoops. Nope. That's so. David, 1 second. We got to remove this one. It wouldn't let me bring it. Okay. Nope. Share screen. All right. All right. I hope if you need a refill on popcorn, grab that now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of my heroes in Magic. That was filmed for Just About Magic right here with the IBM, and he's also a past president of the IBM. So he's been here before to introduce me, but now we get to talk to Oscar Munoz. Oscar, welcome. Thank you for being here. You can't hear me, or I can't hear? No, I can't hear you. Oh, you can't hear me now? What did I do? Hold on. Are you messing with me right now? It was working this whole time. You can hear me on stream. We can't hear you. You're muted. Do you have a donut in your mouth? A donut stuck in your throat? You're not muted. Let me see. Hold on. Let me check the audio because we got David. Let me check. Let me bring David back for a second. Can we hear you, David?
Yeah, I can hear you, Michael, but I can't hear Oscar. But we can hear you, Michael.
I think he has a sponge donut stuck in his throat, and he's gonna cough it up any moment now. That's weird. Oscar, we could hear you earlier when we were back before we started. All right, thanks, David.
Yeah.
So check your make sure your microphone. Go to the audio settings and make sure your microphone's the same one that you were using before. Oh, okay. You want to do it that way? Hey. So you're saying you can't hear me either.
Right. Can you hear me?
Well, now I can hear you through the phone now that you called me.
Yeah. I can hear you at all. Should I log off and come back on?
Yeah, let's try that because we can hear my voice, David's voice, and we just can't hear your voice. But if you're not hearing us either, then I would say, yeah, just use the same link and come back in. Okay, cool. All right, just give us a second. That'll give me an opportunity to talk about, since I just mentioned that Oscar is past president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and you see right in the corner here, that's the logo, sponsor of the show that you're watching right now. It is being broadcast on their Facebook page, and the next convention is going to be in Tacoma, Washington. The last one was absolutely outstanding. I don't want to miss them. I don't want to miss any one of them. I hope that I can always make it. The next one's going to be incredible in Tacoma, and Oscar's going to be there as well because he's also contest chairman. Welcome back, Oscar Munoz.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened.
Yay! Did it. Magic. You're a wizard.
Oh, I don't know. I was bitten by one.
Oh, yes. Look at that. We know each other's material so well. And that we just did, how many shows was it together? 20-something?
20-something shows, man. That was
week?
Yeah, that was nice though. Going to a place that you got shows and you're gonna go to work, knock it out, people are enjoying it, makes you feel great, and you go back and you're in the lonely room going like, what could I have done better? How can I get myself better? So yeah.
I'm gonna do that more often. Wait, let's come back to that. We're obviously talking about the Magic Castle, which is just a dream to any magician to perform there. But let's come back to that. Question number one, Oscar. Not your chinada like you were talking about last time, but what is something up your sleeve?
What's been up my sleeve?
Yeah.
Trying to get gigs.
Okay, what is something up your sleeve, man? What makes you you?
What makes me me?
What makes you unique as a performer?
I think it's taking the characters in my head and creating that art form of entertainment. I mean, I have all these characters in my head that I work with, and that's where the Purple Zuzu guy came in, which was how I started with the Purple Zoot guy. As I get older, I found that Zoot suit no longer looked like a Zoot suit, it looked more like a clown suit. So, I'll be turning 60 this month, God will. And it's an ever-changing world. I mean, ever-changing, every time you go into a new venue or a venue that you worked at before, but the times have changed. You got to learn how to change with the time. So try to make myself better every day, changing. You can't talk like this all the time because not everybody loves it. They won't understand you.
Unless you're Sophia Viagra, or how do you say her name?
Yeah, you got to take some. Sophia Vergara.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it works for her, right? Simon, I tell you, don't make me feel this way. Or Howie, please stop. Yeah,
that's
fantastic. It works for me, making the bucks, and I'm talking to you. So
When I first saw you, that was the routine I saw you. When I first saw you in Texas, the TAO.
Oh my gosh, man!
What year that was? You're in the purple zoot suit. I think you did the Spanish version of the banana.
Right.
Because I had been working on the Cajun one. I remember, like,
right.
Oh my God. I'm like, we're like this. I'm way in the back of the theater going, we're like this. That guy, I didn't even know this guy. Little did I know we'd become great friends later. I had no idea, but
yeah.
You were in purple and Sean was in purple. You had kind of like a purple gang going for a while there.
Well, I took the Zoot suit. It's synonymous with big band, Dizzy Gillespie and all those guys. And Zoot suit there was a California that had what they call Zoot suit riot, That's where Hispanics couldn't walk together. More than 3 were considered a riot. So they protested by wearing the zoot suits. So there's full play.
So more than 3 is considered a riot?
Yeah, at those times, yeah.
Oh, good to
Yeah,
know.
if you walk
Okay.
down the street down, L.A., back in the day when they had
That's
San
what the
Diego.
zoot suit riot is, just more than 3 guys that decided to wear zoot suits to the club.
Yeah, well, it was
trying to start a riot.
we only need 3 men.
Yeah, apparently.
Right. Well, it's
Right.
when the sailors would get into fights with Latinos up in San Diego area. So yeah, that was quite back in the
I
day.
had a blue one. I mean, I still have it. I even have it. I just don't wear it. It's definitely.
Well, yeah, it can still
like a
fit,
zoot
but I
suit.
have like different sizes of when I lost all that weight and when I gained it all back. So it had like a gradual, you could tell what year it was by the sizes. I think I have a total of maybe 5 zoot suits throughout the career, earlier career.
I'm gonna go and bring this up now because I was thinking this when I was on the side stage watching you at the castle because you have such a manipulation heavy act that you're doing there. Was that affected because you did at one point? I remember you lost a ton of weight. Like we get very used to the muscle memory of in your case you've got different loads going on and maneuver. Like did that affect you? Did you have to change some slides or anything?
I had to modify some of the slides. I mean, I'm trying to as far as dressing is concerned, it's a more older me, and so I don't dress in a bright, brilliant colors like I used to. So it's more like a subdued kind of thing. But you had to adjust to the. There was a lot of things that you could do with that zoot suit that nobody had seen or hasn't seen. I haven't really revealed a lot of the stuff that I used the zoot suit for. I mean, it's not just for look; it was for different things that nobody really knows what I was doing with it. So, but now I had to alter because of my dressing, my moves and stuff. But yeah, most of them were taught to me. I mean, then when I taught them myself to myself. It wasn't like I had a mentor or had somebody that oh, this is not how you hold the ball. I had a lot of friends in the industry who said, what if you tried this? But ultimately it was down to me and how I developed my act.
So let's go back to the castle because you just started talking about the feeling that you get and what it's like to perform there. I was really so blessed that my first time there got to be with you because I felt so comfortable. I know that you and I could go on any stage and we could probably just have a conversation. We're going to kill it.
Right.
Just bounce off each other. So the fact that I got to introduce you was a huge honor. What can you tell us more about maybe those that haven't been there or performers that?
Well, the cool thing about working at the castle, it was a blessing for me to watch you work at the castle because I got to see your eyes, sort of like when I worked at Castle the first time I worked was Ron Wilson booked me back in the day, way back in the day. It was by myself, so I didn't have that to share with anybody else.
Right. So those that we had, I was emceeing the show and we had Meadow Perry doing Bubble Magic and then the Comedy Magic of Oscar Munoz, and that's a solid 45 right there.
Right, and then you had 2 people that hadn't been on there. I mean, Meadow didn't appear on it.
Yeah, so she and I are rookies. She and I was our first time.
Right, but it was what I was going to say was it was an honor to watch your experience through your eyes. Like I was like watching you and experiencing what I felt the first time I worked there. It was like, oh my God, I'm here. And I watched that. Now as you worked it throughout the years, you're kind of like, okay, you're set in your ways. But you don't get to see the experience of people's faces when they go like, I'm finally here. It's like I've been working all this time to ask to be performing this place. It was a magical moment for me to watch you guys. You and Meadow do a standing job taking the stage, and Meadow taking never been on that kind of a stage and kind of morphing into like, okay, I got to do this to make it work. And she, the first day and the second day, and then the improvements in third, fourth, and then finally she had a set that to come up anywhere in the world with. And you're clever with your you pick on the nuances and people when they have your comebacks. I can truly tell that you're a worker. I mean, definitely, just because you got some zingers out there, and you rolled it with them. So which is a sign of a good entertainer is willing to take that hit and go like, all right, I can make this work.
Well, you kept saying that other people had seen that giving the same advice. They were like, prepare to have at least one bad night. It's just a numbers game, and you're going to have a bad night. We did not have a bad night. There was not a single bad. Every crowd rocked. I was like, what are you people talking about? How can you have a bad night when you've got so many people so pumped to see magic? I mean, it's like
right, because they're there to see magic. And so you're ahead of the game at that point. You know, it's not like you work the other rooms that they're all right. They're solid man stage now. You got to be even better than what you saw main stage. You know, because I've worked there and I've done close up and I've done also parlor. You know, Jack likes to put me in the parlor and in the main stage. So yeah, even though I won the gold medals in close up, which I can do close up, but it's just I prefer the stand up kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you get a bigger crowd to entertain.
Right. Yeah.
More smiling faces.
Right.
So you used this word a moment ago, and David used it to describe you. You are a worker. You're out there working it. You're a hustler. You are what, quote unquote, what we would call a true professional magician, in that you make your living doing shows out there on a regular basis. What has been some of those challenges to continue having that as a career through the years?
Well, that's a great question, man. The biggest challenge is reinventing yourself every year. You know, I do about 200 school shows a year. It dropped down since, well, I'll be turning 60. So it's dropped down, I'd say about 100, because the body can only take so much. And, you know, as I get older, I do everything. I do the drive to, the setup, the performance, the tear down, drive back, or go to the next school. You only have like 35, 45 minutes to eat between the next school, drive to school, unload, set up, you know, perform 2 more shows. So you do 4 shows a day, 2 schools a day. So it gets, yeah. And I look forward to working with adults, because you don't have to have a mindset of a kid. When you perform, you got to think of a kid and perform as, you know, how you would attract them. So yeah, that's the hard part, is reinventing yourself every year, changing something different, you know, delivery. It's just, yeah, because kids are notorious for going, we saw that already. So you can't rely on a set that you've been working for years, like most of us have. Like when I go to the castle, it's a set that I've been working for years. You know,
that set, like what I saw at the castle and what we saw in the video previously, is that something that translates at a school show, or do you do?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, the gold medal in close up, I've been doing that for years. So I just structured it to 7 minutes. You know, and I picked the best of the best, that, you know, the jokes that work well, the timing that worked well. And I know David talked on this about timing. Timing is crucial when you're making a joke or delivering a joke. It's timing. I learned from, you know, Johnny Carson, not necessarily him being in the room, but watching him as a kid. I used to get spanked for staying up and watching Johnny. But even if you watch Johnny, even that pause was a laughter, you know. So yeah.
So your Gold Cups competition act was not made for competitions, but was consisted of things that you were already fluid
that I've been doing for years and years. So I was set.
Yeah, I'm just learning this because I didn't realize that. Now we're talking, this was years ago, so I probably didn't see I wasn't sitting there for the original version, but I always assumed that you had put together a competition act specifically.
No, that's one thing that I learned too, is if you're set, like you know your timing of each trick, you can like take this one, put it in the front, take this one, put it, you know, towards the end. This joke goes here, this goes there, because you know they're strong pieces. You know, it might be just a word, it might be a phrase, it might be positioning of a ball here or the direction of the ball there. But yeah, just tying it in. And I think I was the first one to start using music. And the only reason I used music was for timing. If I knew that
in close up, obviously
right.
Magicians have used music on stage for years and years and years.
Close up for the
in a close up competition setting.
I knew how crucial it was for timing, because you know if you went over like even a second, you be disqualified.
That was interesting, you know? Timing, because video pros. But that was still funny. It was good. That was, see, the timing works. It took a second for you to finish the thought.
Right.
That was great.
Yeah, but even a second, yeah, you would go over it, and I go like, it's not gonna happen, you know. So I knew that when I started that music, I had almost 6.5 minutes of material that I had to go.
Which included a parakeet?
Yeah.
There was a parakeet in that act?
Yes, there was a parakeet in that act. It was towards the end of the billiard ball. I changed the red ball back into white. The white rolls into my hand from this position to this position, and then I do this, and there's a parakeet sitting on my finger. I used to smuggle parakeets on the plane before the X-rays and all that stuff. I mean,
it'd be a weird thing for security to catch you on now. Sir, can you step over here? I don't know how to
what's
ask
that in
this.
your pocket?
Do you have a bird in your pants? That's right.
Yeah. What's that in your pocket? Yeah.
I take this one, but openly. This is my support chicken. He's got the little red vest. My he's kind of chroming out. The green screen's picking up the yellow, but I love flying with this guy, my emotional support chicken. But so and speaking of competitions, and this I'll give you a little story. This will segue into my next question, which is about the IBM competitions. I was years ago. There was like 16 of us in this close competition. I think in Daytona. It was just like one room, and it was hot. There's people huddled in, and I'm standing by Michael Tricks, and I said, by the time they get to me, my sponge balls are gonna be flat. And he goes, well, my parakeet is flipping out. I don't forget that. I'm worried about my own sponge balls. This guy set up a parakeet. Parakeet's like, let's get on with the show.
Back in the day, I think it was an honor to be amongst. The year that I won, I had George Soterio. I was competing in stage and close up, and I think the year that I won the Gold Cups. No, I know the year that I won Gold Cups is George Soterio won stage, Murray Sawchak won second, and then Chinese guy came in third for stage. And I was the one to go Cubs there. I don't remember anything after that, but yeah, it was the times that a lot of people had, not like today. A lot of people today have, a lot of people in the past had at least a good to 10-minute set that you could be dropped on in any convention, and good ones too. I mean, but nowadays I don't see, in the competition I've been watching, I don't see the people heading, like working on a set. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing magic full time. I mean, once I got out of the Marine Corps, I beeline focused on doing magic as a living. Some people said, oh, you're never going to make it. It's hard. It is a hard industry, but you got to, as an entrepreneur, and as a, I mean, you do the same, right? I mean, you out there and shake the bushes trying to get gigs. We talked about this earlier. It's not this year. It's kind of hard, but you have to just keep going. I mean, you got to knock on the doors and ruffle some feathers and move some windows open and walk through and go, okay, I'm the guy you're looking for. So. Now
you're also the chairman of the competitions for the IBM National Convention.
Well, actually, I guess I got promoted or I don't know. My wife is running the competition this time.
Okay.
And I'm the co-chair for the competition, but I'm the producer of the convention.
Now, was that you saying, "Hey, Melody, I really need some help with this," and she's like, "Fine," or was that her going, "Hey, if you want to do this right"?
No, my wife is very supportive of magic, and she knows the stresses of putting these things together, and she said, "Let me take over while you work on this." And we have a great team, man. IBM, I am so happy to work with people that have like-minded. There's no ego stuff going on, and it's just a great from our president to the vice president to the people from the board. They pull the confidence in you, and Sean was booking the shows. Man, he wore out all his friends. He called his friends. I think he owes them a lot of favors because he did a lot of good stuff for us. I mean, he really. We got the guy who worked the banquet. We got Billy Shui, who put together our banquet. The convention chairman for the dealers, Alex, is another guy that just. I don't know how the guy does it. He does like 300 or 400 shows a year, and then comes there and with a matter of like a week, he puts together the dealers booth people. With the help of Simone Marin, who's does all the contacts.
He's working for sure.
Yeah, we do have a great team. I mean, I'm really happy to work with guys that are only looking to advance the art of magic, not only with themselves but with everybody else in this world. I mean, it's a great group.
You'll be co-chair in Tacoma as well next year in Tacoma.
Yes, it's going to be in
You'll be
Tacoma,
co-chair.
Washington.
So what can you tell us
I'll
about the
be
Tacoma
doing
convention?
well, Tacoma, Washington will be the last time that my wife and I will be working the convention as far as the competition is concerned. It is time for us to move aside and let somebody behind us who is younger, is very enthusiastic about taking over the position, which I'm very happy that he volunteered.
Oh, you already. I was like, are you looking for someone, or you already have somebody?
No, we already have
someone. It's
someone.
going to be taken. What's
No,
that?
we have someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
Keith Fields and his wife.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna tell you, like, I didn't want to just say it because I didn't know if that was appropriate. I was thinking that in my head, and I was gonna call you privately and go, you know who would be great? Keith Fields.
Oh yeah, no,
What?
him and his wife
Yeah.
are phenomenal.
Keith and Lady Sarah would be ideal. I mean, boy, you guys really highlighted them at the last convention, and I think people can't stop talking about how great their show was.
Yeah, no, it's just they're phenomenal. They stepped up to the plate, because when I announced it at the board that this would be our last, and they stepped up. I mean, I was more than ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, that's great. We got two people that have a great enthusiasm, great ideas, how to move it forward, how to make it better. So yeah, and so
and that's what I've enjoyed. People like you and like Keith Fields and some of the others involved with the convention that are doing things to keep this organization going, to keep a great organization like the International Brotherhood of Magicians going, and figuring out ways to rejuvenate it. And that's been fun to see the excitement, to see people that are motivated like you guys.
Yeah, no, again, a great team. It's not just me. I mean, it's Ken Scott, Sean Farquhar, Billy Shui, Alex Alexander, Simone Marin, our president, Chuck Arkin, Stephen Levine, who's our legal guy. We have all these people. I mean, and we have committees that are great, marketing committee, advertising committee. We have, Jason Michaels, who is phenomenal. I'm glad he stepped in. So yeah, we have a good team. I think that we're staying afloat like everybody else. It's getting harder. I mean, it really is. The hotel business or the hotel is hard to work with nowadays. They know they got us. I mean, they gotta make their revenue for the last 2 years of loss. But no, we're gonna do.
Gotta have that banquet. Gotta have that banquet ticket, right? Each time.
Right.
So what would you say? We see in competitions a lot of hobbyists that they don't have a career in magic, and they're able to take their free time, organize a great 10-minute routine, and we've seen a lot of that. But you're somebody from a different end. You're a worker who actually put their work into the competition act. And what has been your benefits having won that? And what would you say as a worker for so many years? How did the competitions influence you, and what would you say to inspire others that may be going that route of what it can do to affect their career or their entertainment path?
Competition did for me what could never be. I mean, it opened a lot of doors for me. I mean, really, I got to see the world at least twice. When the year that I won the Gold Cups, I got swept up to Europe and performed in Europe, and then I got on the Murray Hatfield tour, which was phenomenal. I did a 38-city tour all over Canada, and did it twice with Murray. It opened a lot of doors that I would not have. I mean, who would think a kid from South Texas would win a competition and be swept off to Europe and see the world that wasn't forced to, like I was in the military? Well, I didn't force to. I volunteered, so but I got to see the world. It was amazing. It opened a lot of doors. Taking something that and turn it into something for a competition is a lot easier than starting from scratch. Starting from scratch, you have to learn a lot, and to put it all in 7 minutes or 8 minutes. And I tell people, because we have 10 minutes, I tell people I'd rather have a strong 8-minute act than a weak 10.
Right.
Yeah. So that gives you at least two minutes to go in between and go, I can hold back and let them laugh a little longer than you have to cut in and kill that laughter. So I deal with the comedy aspect of it. It's a lot easier for me.
So I'm going to bring David back. I'm going to ask you guys to answer this question, and then we'll wait by the Facebook group, and then I'll figure out how to rate out of my other platform, because we're going a little bit over time. But the question is, you guys have been very involved, and he can hear me backstage, and I'll pull him in. You guys have been very involved with the magic community, and there's a lot of magicians that are workers that are out there and they're doing their thing, but they're not really part of the social events. They're not part of the convention. They're not part of the community. What has kept you as a part of that community, and what are the benefits of being in an organization like this? You could hear me, right, David?
Okay. For me, what's kept me into the organization is I want to see this art kept alive. I mean, it has given me so much that I can never give it back what it's given me. Kept me away from the drugs, kept me away from the gangs, because, you know, that was my, I think, out for me is if I wasn't, you know, I'm a big guy. When I was in high school, I was supposed to be the football player, but I'm not, you know, that wasn't me. You know, I was the only guy in home ed. I was the only guy in theater that looked like me, you know, so learning the ropes in theater and learning acting and then studying children's theater. I was not supposed to be on stage. In fact, I had a professor in college say, "What the hell are you doing here? You don't even have timing," you know? And so when he said that to me, it was like, all right, you effing, you know, let's see where we're going to go with this one. And years passed, I got booked to do a theater show. And guess who I had as my opener? Well, I didn't book him. The people that booked the theater had him he was doing a one-man show called Charlie Brown. And he opened for me. And as I passed him in the hallway getting dressed, I said, Dr. Cummings, Oscar Munoz, oh, you don't remember me. You're the one that said I'd never be anything on stage. Hey, great job on opening for me. And kept walking. Yeah, God bless his soul. He was
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, but I credit him though. I credit him. I know that's kind of, but I credit him because he gave me that like challenge. You know, he challenged you.
Sure.
I don't know if you know when he said what he said, was it intentional to make me think differently and make me, you know, home in on what I wanted to do? Because if it was intentional, it was a genius. You know, because it kind of like forced me to get out of that box and go, I'm going to prove you wrong, that I'm going to be on stage and I will perform, you know, places that would not expect me to perform. So, yeah. But I want to keep this going because I think it gives a lot of voice to kids out there. You don't have to be this suave, debonair, you know, handsome guy. You could be somewhere like me. I'm not suave, debonair, handsome, but it gives you, you know, belonging in the theater for me.
That's a phenomenal answer. It's 100% true. For me, it's the friendships that I've forged. You know, you meet that one or two people out there that will just bend over backwards, do anything in the world for you. You see them contributing to the world in a really positive way, both with their magic, with fundraising, with, you know, advocacy. And you look at that and you go, my God, this person is doing so much. I need to be able to do something too. And I want to be able to thank them for everything that I've done. The number of magicians that I've met through 4F, through just local IBM rings. I mean, the friendships that I've forged with that have driven me to give back to the people younger than me. Because if those guys did it to me, it's my job to do it for somebody else.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. As people ask me, can you help me on this? Can you help me on that? Can you mentor me on this? And they go, how much owe you? I said, nothing, man. Your job is to take that and give it forward, pass it forward. Yeah. You know, I get people contact me and I help people that are either developing an act or trying to move on with their idea or something. And they'll shoot me a video or they'll shoot me a little drawing and stuff. And how can you make this idea better? You know, and I return the favor. I mean, because I had people there at those times when it's not as easy now. When I was growing up, you know, you wanted an idea or you wanted somebody to help you with, you had to go ask, you had to go forward, you had to communicate.
Totally right, Oscar.
Yeah.
Yep.
And nowadays, there's kids like church on Facebook or on YouTube, and they'll find the answer, but they don't know why it's existed. They don't know why it works. And that's why you should come in with a community like either IBM, SAM is another great organization that fosters the art, and get involved with either their rings or their groups, and just. I mean, you'd be surprised how much these old guys have in their heads that you wouldn't even find in a book, you know. And it takes some of the old guys to go, okay, he's a youngin, but he'll, you know, I'll give this information, and you know, so.
And you know how many? There's a lot of old guys out there who could benefit themselves from being able to work with some of the younger groups that are out there. I mean, it's a two-way street, and you know, the more you give yourself into that community, the more you're going to be able to take out of it, whether you know it or not.
Right. Yeah. And that's it. It's about giving and taking.
Yep.
It's,
Well said. We're gonna go ahead and end this portion of the show. I'll give you guys for a couple minutes as I end on the other platforms and say goodbye. But let's all wave to the IBM Facebook page and thank you IBM for sponsoring the show. This has been Something Up My Sleeve. Remove. All right, so I think now that means that it ended on that stream, and that'll give me a second to on the Twitch platform. I get to raid over to another streamer, so that's why once I end it out, I always try to either we keep it going, we keep the conversation going, or we go ahead and raid out. So we're going to do that. But so I got that set to go. So if you're watching on Twitch, we're going to go see Eccentric Chuck, and those of you not watching on Twitch, it's the Not That Magic Mike channel, and we're going to be doing more and more of these types of talks on that one where we're not on Facebook. So make sure to check it out. It's twitch.tv/NotThatMagicMike. And make sure you visit the links that we put in the chat to see what David Corsaro's cooking up. Check out his show Magic in a Bottle, and OscarMunoz.com. Check out where Oscar's performing, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to see these guys in action. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
No,
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for
Loved
having
it.
me.
Had a good time.
All right. And I'll get in touch with you guys. I'll go ahead and end the stream, and I'm going to get in touch with you guys soon. That
Take
was so
care.
much fun. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
Dave, it's good to
Have
see you,
back.
man.
Do Oscar, buddy. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye, guy, Mike.
Bye.